how you can identify a great problem. Before ever you think about solving problems, creating impact in a particular community, you must be able to validate your problem. We have different levels of problems, right? We have just the minor problems, major, and then we have the great problems, right? How do you identify that this is really a great problem? There are certain problems that requires immediate action. They did not require procrastination. They require immediate action, right? So for you to identify a great problem, your problem must contain these 4 characteristics that I'm about to tell you now, right? The first characteristics that your problem must contain is pain, right? Pain is just the negative experience that customers face whenever they want to acquire or buy a particular product. They feel like, they are frustrated, angry, anxiety, and then sometimes they are helpless. That's where pain comes in. They will feel a lot of pain. So if your problem does not contain these particular characteristics, is like that problem is not a great problem, right? That's the number 1 characteristic your problem must contain. The second feature your problem must contain is frequency. How frequent your problem is really gonna validate whether your problem is a great problem, major, or just a minor problem, right? If you have frequency, is just how it measures how frequent that particular, how often that particular problem occurs, right? You cannot compare problems that affect people every day to those that only occur once a year, regardless of the impact or the negative impact that that particular problem might cause in that particular community. But you can't compare it to problems that frustrate people every day. So you must ensure that your great problem contain pain, it contain frequent. And then the third feature is costly. If your problem is not costly, your problem doesn't require a lot of resources, money and time, that's not a great problem, right? So that's the other characteristic that you must you need to try to figure out if really your problem has it, right? Then the fourth one is inconvenient, right? Inconvenience. If your problem is not making people feel like feel inconvenient, it's not a great problem, right? Let's say, for instance, costly healthcare facility in the country, and then you back it up with what? Waste of time. You see the length of wait times. You spend a lot of time, even if you pay your money, right? Yet still you are still gonna spend a lot of time before even you have access to that particular healthcare. So it's really make people feel like feel inconvenient for that particular situation. So your problem must contain, in order for your problem to be a great problem, it must contain these 4 characteristics. Number 1 is pain, 2 is frequent, 3 is costly, 4 is inconvenient, right? These are the 4 characteristics that a great problem must contain. So if you want to learn much about entrepreneurship, how to start and grow your business, how to make positive impact in your community, you are thinking of identifying a problem but you don't know how to validate that particular problem, right? Whether it's a minor problem, it's a great problem, it's a major problem, you don't know. Don't forget to give us a follow, like, share, and then tell me what you think in the comment section. This is all about making impact in your community. Thank you. See you in the next one.